chapter 13a of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda, Rama and Sita, Part 2. Apadamahartaram dhataram sarvasampadam lokabhiramam Shriramam bhuyo bhuyo namamyaham. Rama did not seem to relish the words spoken by Sita. He did not want to take her with him. He tried to argue with her and tell her about the dangers which beset one who walks in the forest. He tried to comfort Sita, whose tears were flowing unheeded. Wiping them with gentle fingers, he said, "Sita, you are the daughter of a great man who is well versed in dharma, and you are yourself no stranger to the nuances of it. You should then know that your dharma is to obey me. Stay back here in Ayodhya and do as I tell you. Dwelling in the forest is not as easy as you seem to imagine. Abandon this desire to go to the forest with me. Uninhabited by human beings, the forest will be a fearful place to live in. I have nothing but your welfare at heart when I try to dissuade you from this impulsive decision. There is not a single ray of happiness in this forest life to which I have been condemned. Wild animals are there in plenty to frighten you and make life miserable because of the constant danger to life. You talk about sporting in the rivers, but you do not seem to realize that the rivers are full of crocodiles which will grab you and will never let you go. The paths are not there at all, which you have to follow. The forest is full of thorny bushes and creepers which bar your way. At times, there will not be water even for us to drink. As for sleep, you will have to make a bed of dried leaves. For a princess like you, brought up in the lap of luxury, it will not be possible to sleep in such a bed. My dearest wife, you are accustomed to wearing the softest of silks, and how can you wear crude cloth made of the tree bark? Your beautiful soft hair will all be a tangled mass since you will not be able to take care of it. You may have to starve at times because of lack of fruits and roots in some places. And again, there will be the seasons to reckon with. The rainy season will soon be here, and before that the sun will be scorching the world with his sharp rays like arrows. How can you bear the extremes of nature? How can you bear the coldness of Shishira Rutu, when the very trees will tremble in the cold and shed all their leaves? Think of the serpents and pythons which will catch you unawares. Infinite are the dangers that beset the path of a traveller in the forest. How can you, tender and young as you are, bear all these? In your affection for me, you say that you do not mind them, but you do not know what a dreadful place the Dandaka forest is. I have considered everything well, and I have come to the decision that you should not come with me, but stay in Ayodhya till my return." Sita would not be convinced. She looked at Rama with eyes which were filled with sadness as well as anger. "I am very unhappy," she said, and stood silent for a while. She then spoke in a soft and persuasive voice. "Rama," she said, "all the many dangers which you have been enumerating all this while seem to me to be but the charms of the forest, since you will be with me. I have never seen all the animals and crocodiles, the trees and the lotus ponds which you described to me. I want to see them. And again, when they see you, they will all resort to flight, afraid of you and your Vela. My parents have told me that my place is by the side of my husband at all times, and I mean to follow that rule. If, however, you insist that I have to stay behind, I will have to give up my life. When you are by my side, no one, not even Indra, the Lord of the heavens, will have the courage to harm me. Oftentimes, when I have heard of Dharma, when we have talked of it together, you have told me that a Pativrata, if she is separated from her husband, is not fit to be alive. I am also reminded of an incident when I was in my father's house. Some wise men had come there, and I was told by them that I would have to live in the forest some time during my lifetime. Ever since then, there has always been this thought lying at the back of my mind that I would see the forest sometime. Somehow, it is destined that I should go with you. Rama, I want to be with you. Do not try to keep me away from you. I am not a child and I know that the forest is beset with dangers. My only thought is to serve you in the forest. I will not be a hindrance to you. Rama, you are the only God whom I worship and I will follow you wherever you go. In childhood, a woman is protected by her father, in her youth, by her husband, and in her old age, by her son. Woman is never free. I will be your wife in the next world too. Rama, I have ever been devoted to you. Never once have I displeased you in any way. You are ever in my heart and in my thoughts. You know it. How then can you have the heart to ask me to be without you? How can you have the heart to be without me? Your happiness is mine, and I will gladly share with you your misfortune. I am also able to view happiness with an unruffled mind. You have taught me that. If you still persist in refusing me this desire, I will kill myself either by swallowing poison, or by falling into the blazing fire, or by drowning myself. Her tears seemed to be drenching the very earth out of which she was born, and her sighs were eloquent of her grief. Rama was still trying to dissuade her. He wiped her tears and spoke words of sweetness. He spoke again of the troubles of living in the forest and asked her to stay behind. Sita spoke again. She could take liberties with Rama since she was his wife and she knew that he would not be offended. In that mood, born of love, desperation, and eagerness to go with him, Sita said, My father, the king of Mithila, made a mistake perhaps. He has given his daughter to a woman dressed as a man. If the world talks of Rama thus, Rama does not possess the glory which is equalled only by the sun. Will it not be false, my lord? Why do you want to leave me behind? Who is ever devoted to you and who has no one else to call as hers? Tell me, why do you think it will be difficult to take me with you? Remember, I am like Savitri who followed her lord, the son of Dyumata Sena, when he was taken to the very bourne of death. I am not like an ordinary woman who can amuse herself even when her husband is not with her. Rama, you are famed for the noble quality in you, which says you will never abandon those who are devoted to you. You have been known to love me and only me, and as for me, I have no thought of anything else except your love for me. And yet, you want to leave me in the hands of your enemies? Your undertaking to go to the forest at the behest of your father is indeed something which will be remembered by men ever after. Such a man should not leave his wife behind. You must take me with you, wherever you go, whether it is the forest, Thapoloka, heaven, or any other place. I will be happy only with you by my side. Rama, the dust which will blow in the forest will seem to me to be sandal paste, and the thorns will seem like the down from the breast of a swan. You have adopted the forest as a mansion to live in, and so have I. We will together eat the fruits and roots from the trees, and that will taste like nectar to me. I will never remember my mother or my father or this palace. I will spend all my time in the midst of the wild flowers of the forest. I will not be a burden to you, nor will I displease you in anything. To me, it is heaven to be with you, and hell to be without you. To me, it is heaven to be with you, and hell to be without you. Please understand the pain in my heart, and taking pity on me, take me with you. You know that even a moment without you is painful to me and unbearable. How then can I live for a year? 3 more and 10 more years to follow without you? Sita's grief was pathetic. She embraced Rama and wept without restraint. Out of her eyes fell tears which looked like drops of crystal falling from the petals of a lotus. Her face, which was like the moon, was now without its glow, like the moon drenched in frost, like a lotus which had been uprooted and thrown on the ground. Rama embraced his weeping wife and said, Sita, my dearest, if by making you unhappy I were to acquire heaven, I will not consider the thought of it even. I am not hesitant to take you with me to the forest. I am capable of protecting the entire world, and that was not the reason for my refusing to take you with me. I wanted to know for certain what your desire was, and without knowing it, how could I make up your mind for you? How could I make up your mind for you? That was the only reason why I spoke to you thus. You have been created, Sita, to spend the years in the forest with me. It is not meet that you should remain here when I go away from here. You are part of me, and even as Suvara Chala follows her Lord Surya, even so will you be with me always. This is the dharma taught by the elders, and we know it only too well. My father has commanded me, go to the forest and dwell there for 14 years, and I am but obeying him implicitly. Implicit obedience to one's father and mother is the ancient rule. I will not transgress that ancient rule. Ignoring one's father, mother, and guru, who are gods incarnate, if a man worships some other god, what is the use of such a worship? To perform yagnas and give away great wealth as gift to many will not earn for one the punya which this observance grants to man. Such a man inherits the punya lokas. You have made up your mind to live with me in the great and fearful forest Dandaka, and I am certain that I will take you with me. When your father gave you in marriage to me, he said, this Sita will be your Sahadharma Chari. You shall today walk in the path of Dharma which I have set my mind on along with me. You are an ornament to your family and mine, and you have proved that you are a jewel among women. Come, Sita, make all preparations for your journey. Give away wealth to Brahmins. Feed the poor. Give away all that you have to the maids, to your servants and other attendants in the palace. Sita's face was glowing with happiness when she heard that Rama would take her with him. She smiled happily, and even as he was speaking, she decided to give away all that she possessed to the many inmates of the palace, as was suggested by Rama. Jai Sita Mate, Jai Sita Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Om Shri Ramar Panamastu. Chapter 14 of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda, Lakshmana's request. Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Lakshmana, who was waiting for Rama at the doorway, heard the decision of Rama to take Sita with him. He was unable to bear the grief which threatened to engulf him. His eyes were red with tears, and he entered the chambers of Rama. He fell at Rama's feet like a tree which had been felled by a storm. With his two hands he clasped Rama's feet. He looked up at Sita and said, evidently, it has been decided that my lord is leaving for the forest. I am leaving for the forest too. But bow in hand, I will precede you both, and I will lead the way. I will be with you in the forest filled with wild animals, birds, and deer too. I have known no God other than you, my beloved brother. Ever since I was a child, I have been with you, and to ask me to stay behind when you are in the forest will be cruel. Without you, I do not desire a place in the heavens, nor the envied gift of deathlessness. I will refuse it, even if I am asked to rule the three worlds. Take me with you, my lord. Rama said nothing in reply, and Lakshmana said, I have been granted permission already to be with you. Why do you stand silent when I ask you now? You were asking your queen just now to be very careful in her behavior with Bharata, and you added that Bharata and Shatrughna were dear to you and that she would be treated well by them. That she should try not to displease them in any manner. When you said that you did not include my name, when you said that, you did not include my name. And that means that you have decided to take me with you. Have I unwittingly displeased you in any way? Have I offended you? Please let me know what my fate is. It depends on your words. Lakshmana stood with his eyes beseeching Rama to allow him to accompany him. Rama said, Lakshmana, you are very dear to me. You have ever been righteous like me. You are an evolved soul. You are my alter ego, and there is no difference between me and you. Lakshmana, if you should come with me to the forest, who will take care of my mother and yours? Kausalya and Sumitra will be suffering intensely as the separation when I go, and if you should add to their pain, what will they do? Our father, the king who has been like Parjanya in raining favors on all who have been depending on him, who has lived gloriously like Indra till now, has all on a sudden become involved in the ties of lust, and Kaikeyi reigns supreme in his mind. This daughter of Ashwapati will not treat our mothers well. Bharata will have to obey his mother in every act of his, and so he will not pay attention to the comforts of your mother and mine. It is up to you, Lakshmana, to take care of my old mother with or even without the approval of the king. You must remain here and let me go in peace. You must prove your devotion to me by doing what I ask you to do. Serving one's parents is the greatest dharma, and you should observe it. With both of us away, our mothers will be slighted by everyone, and that is not right. You should stay behind and take care of them both. Lakshmana heard the words of Rama, and, well versed as he was in the art of saying the right thing at the right time, he said, I have no doubt, my lord, that Bharata, who is like you in every way, will never let such a thing happen. He will cherish Mother Kausalya and my mother too with the utmost love and respect. You need have no doubt about it. If it reaches my ears that swollen with pride because of his position, Bharata has lost sight of Dharma and has become unrighteous, it will not take me very long to come and kill him. As for Mother Kausalya, there are thousands like me who are devoted to her and who have her welfare at heart. They will take care of her. She and my mother will be well cared for. Have no doubt about that. Please take me with you as your servant. There is no adharma to be seen in your doing so. I will arm myself with a bow, arrows, a spade, and a basket. I will go ahead and clear the way for you. I will daily go out into the forest and collect fruits for you. You can relax on the slopes of the mountains with Sita. I will attend to your comforts day and night. Let me come with you. Rama was thrilled with the words of Lakshmana. His eyes were moist when he said, Lakshmana, come with me. Go at once and bid farewell to all those who are dear to you. Remember the yajna of Janaka. There, Varuna gave two immense bows which were divine, two armors which cannot be broken, and quivers which are inexhaustible. He gave us swords too, gleaming like the sun and decorated with gems. Go to the dwelling of our Acharya and ask him to give these to you. Come back with them. Lakshmana was so happy he almost ran all the way to do his brother's bidding. Very soon he came back with the famed bows of Varuna. He laid them all before Rama and said, Here they are. Tell me what else has to be done. Rama said, You are ever dear to me, Lakshmana. You will now help me to perform the next act. With you by my side, I wish to give away all my belongings to Brahmins and to the dependents in the palace. Go at once and fetch Suyagna, the son of our revered Vashishta and his disciples. I want to honor all of them and leave as early as possible for the forest. Ram Lakshman Janaki Jai Bolo Hanuman Ki Jai Shri Ram Jai Shri Lakshman Shri Ramarpanamastu. Chapter 15 of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda, in the presence of Dasharatha. Shri Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Rama had given away all that was once his to the Brahmins, to the attendants and dependents in his palace. Sita and Lakshmana had done the same thing. They now approached towards the palace to bid farewell to their father, the king. They were carrying the divine bows in their hands, and the eyes of the people were dazzled by the brilliance of the bows. The citizens of Ayodhya had collected in the streets and on the terraces and even on the rooftops to see the princess and Sita as they went on foot towards the palace. Rama was walking in the streets, and there was no umbrella to protect him from the rays of the sun. People were sad, unhappy and angry at the course of events. Their disappointment was great. They had been waiting to see the prince born on the elephant after the coronation, and instead they saw him walking in the streets like anyone else. It was hard to bear. They spoke among themselves, Look at this prince walking in the street. An entire army made up of elephants, chariots, footmen and horses should have followed him. But alas, only his brother Lakshmana is walking with him. Our Rama has ever been brought up in luxury, and he has abandoned all the wealth and glory which ought to have been his because of his adherence to Dharma. All these days, Sita, the wife of Rama, has not been seen even by the celestials, and such a delicate princess is now walking in the streets of the city like an ordinary person. This tender princess, who is accustomed to wearing sandal paste on her arms, will now walk in the forest where the sun's rays will scorch her and where the rain will drench her without mercy. The king who was once the image of Dharma is now under the sway of a demon, and he has lost the power of thinking. Or else, how can one explain his sending his dear son to the forest? Even if he is a son without any remarkable qualities, a father will not have the heart to banish him. And our Rama is the home of all great and glorious qualities. How could the king have come to such a cruel decision? Rama has never once hurt anyone physically or with his words or behavior. On the other hand, he has always been kind and loving towards all men. He is well-read and he is righteous. He has conquered his senses and he is never fickle-minded. Because of their injustice to Rama, the world is suffering like a tree which has been uprooted and left to die. Rama is the mother root for this tree called humanity. Rama is the mother root for this tree called humanity. The people form the leaves, flowers and fruits of this tree. If we should leave, we should go to where Rama goes. Let us follow him to the forest. He gave up everything and let us do the same thing too. Let us desert Ayodhya. Let the city become a forest since we will not be here. Let Kaikeyi rule the country with no people in it. We will make the forest habitate and live with Rama. We cannot live without Rama. Rama heard the words of the people who surrounded him, but he paid no heed to their comments. His face showed no sign of any reaction to their talk. He walked without speaking a word, and Sita walked beside him, while Lakshmana followed the two. Soon they reached the palace of the king. Rama walked towards the doorway, and there he saw Sumantra, his father's charioteer. Sumantra's face was steeped in sorrow. Rama greeted him with a smile which came naturally to him. He knew the feeling of all the people because of his exile. He knew the sorrow in the heart of Sumantra, and yet he was unmoved. He had decided to obey the commands of the king at any cost. To him, following the path of Dharma was the only purpose in life, and there was no disturbance in his mind since he knew that he was doing the right thing. This scion of the race of Ikshvaku had come to bid farewell to his father, and he looked at Sumantra, who was at the doorstep of the palace. Rama told him, Sumantra, be good enough to go and announce my arrival to the king. Rama, handsome and serene, stood at the doorway of the palace, awaiting the permission of the king to enter, and with him stood Sita and Lakshmana. Sumantra's heart was breaking. So unhappy was he. With slow and dragging steps, he went to the presence of the king and stood by his side. The king was sighing, and he looked like the sun under eclipse, like fire which was covered with ashes, like a pond without water. Sumantra could guess the pain in the heart of the king and knew that he was only adding to it. He greeted the king in the conventional manner and in a very soft voice, which was full of sadness, said, My lord, Rama, the valiant son of yours, is waiting at the doorway to see you. After giving away all his wealth to the Brahmins and other dependents in the palace, he has come to bid farewell to you, his father and his king. He has taken leave of all those who are dear to him, and now he has come to you. At your command, he is going to the dreaded forest, Dandaka. Please grant him audience. The king, who was ever righteous, who was noble like the ocean, clear and true like the sky, spoke to Sumantra and said, Ask all my wives and others who reside in the palace to be with me. I want to see Rama surrounded by all of them. Sumantra soon brought them all to the presence of the king. Kausalya came first, and following her came the other wives of the king Dasharatha. Dasharatha said, Sumantra, go and bring my son to me. They were there before the king, Rama, Lakshmana and Sita, led by Sumantra. Rama entered with his palms folded, and the king rose up from his seat. He walked fast towards where Rama was standing, and even before he could reach him, fell down senseless on the ground. The brothers Rama and Lakshmana rushed to his side, and they could see how intense was the suffering of their father. Holding him with their arms, they placed him on the couch. Rama waited for him to regain consciousness. He then spoke to the king, who was drowned in sorrow. My lord, you are the lord of the world, and I have come to take leave of you. I am leaving for the Dandaka forest, and I beseech you, may your eyes rest lovingly on me and bless me. Lakshmana and Sita want to accompany me. I have tried in vain to prevent them, but they insist on coming with me. Pray, grant them permission to do what they wish to do. Please abandon this grief and give us your love and blessings. Dasharatha looked at Rama, whose face seemed to be as calm and charming as was usual with him. He seemed to be quite unaffected by the change in his fortune. The king said, Rama, I have been deceived by Kaikeyi. My hands are tied by my oath because of the boons I granted her once. If you refuse to obey me, ignore me entirely and ascend the throne, which will make me happy. Rama intervened and said, Please do not say so. You must rule the world for many years. I will stay in the forest willingly. I will not allow you to break your word. 9 years and 5 more will I spend in the forest, come back to you and clasp your blessed feet in my hands. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Shri Ramarpanamastu. Chapter 15a of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda in the presence of Dasharatha, Part 2. Apadamahartaram dhataram sarvasampadam lokabhiramam Shriramam bhuyo bhuyo namamyaham. The unfortunate king, bound by his promise and goaded by Kaikeyi into this painful situation, spoke to his beloved son, "Go, my child, and come back covered with glory. May you be blessed in this world. May your fame spread to the three worlds. May you come back to Ayodhya after you fulfill the promise which your father made so rashly. My son, you are the jewel of the Raghu line, and you are the very image of Dharma and truth. I realize that nothing, no one can make you change your mind. I have a small desire, my child. Do not go today. Spend one day, just one single day with me, and that will keep me happy for at least that time. Spend this one night with me and your mother. Stay back, and tomorrow, in the morning, you can go. Rama, you have taken on a great task. Just to save me from the sin of speaking an untruth, you are prepared to give up everything and stay in the fearful forest for a long time. I swear to you, my beloved Rama, I am not pleased at all by this happening. This wife of mine has stolen my freedom. This Kaikeyi, who is like fire covered with ashes. This exile of yours and the crowning of Bharata is entirely against the code of the line of the kings of which I am a descendant. Because of her deceitful nature, I have become involved in this intrigue, and you have agreed to guard my reputation at any cost. My child, you have done what comes naturally to you. I am not surprised at your decision." Rama was extremely unhappy to see his father's sufferings. He said, "Father, spending one single night in luxury is not going to solve anything. If I enjoy them all today, you will grant them to me tomorrow when I am on my way to Dandaka. Please do not waver, but let me go. This land flowing with wealth, with grains, with prosperity has been abandoned by me. Please give it to Bharata. I have decided to leave today, now at this very moment, for the forest. My lord, you have granted the boons to Devi Kaikeyi. Please keep your word. I will help you to do so. According to the conditions imposed on my banishment, I will live in the forest for 14 years. I do not desire to rule the kingdom. My only wish is to please you and to obey you. Let Bharata be lord of the world. Please shed this grief, my lord. It is unbecoming of you. The sea does not get ruffled by the many rivers which flow into it. Even so, you must let these pass you by and leave you untouched. As for me, I do not desire the kingdom, nor any comforts, nor even Sita. I have no desire at all for these surroundings, nor even for a place in the heavens. I swear by the truth, which is sacred to me, that only one thing is dear to me, and that is to save you from the stigma of untruth. I know that it will hurt you, but I will not remain here in the palace or in the city of Ayodhya even for a moment longer. Please understand me and my firm resolve. Mother Kaikeyi told me this morning, Rama, you must go today to the forest. And I said, I will. I cannot break that promise. I assure you, I will enjoy my wanderings in the forest. Surrounded by the deer and the birds with their sweet music, I will be happy. After the lapse of 14 years, I shall come back to you. Do not give way to sorrow. Give up this distress and wait for my coming. Your grief is making everyone else unhappy too. I have willingly renounced the kingdom. Let Bharata rule the world and let your words come true. I am not as eager about ruling a kingdom as I am about following the rules set down by the wise. They have taught me that a father is greater than all other gods and he is to be worshipped. I am only doing what I have been taught as dharma. The forest will offer fruits and roots, and my eyes can feast on the beautiful sight of the mountains and lakes with lotuses floating on them. I will see rare trees and sights which I have never dreamed of in the city. Please set your mind at rest. Do not think that I will suffer. The king spoke not a word but embraced his noble son again and again and fell down senseless. Excepting Kaikeyi, who stood apart with a look of utter unconcern on her face, the other wives of the king cried out loudly. Sumantra could not bear the sight and he fainted too. The king then spoke to him and said, Sumantra, let the army go with Rama to the forest. Load carts with costly silks and gems and ornaments for his use. Let attendants accompany him. Let those who had been his dependents go with Rama and spend their time with him, serving him. Let hunters armed with bows and arrows accompany my son. Even as he was giving these orders, Kaikeyi spoke for the first time. Her face was red with anger, and standing before the king, she said, What a king you are! How truthful! You are trying to empty the kingdom of all its riches and all its people. You want to leave nothing for my son Bharata except the empty streets? It will be like the dregs remaining at the bottom of a vessel when all the drink has been sucked. I will not allow anything to be sent with Rama when he leaves. Dasharatha turned on her in wrath and said, You are my enemy. Is there no end to the torture you put me through? Let me tell you something. You asked that your son should be crowned as the Yuvaraja. You did not mention these then. I can do as I please with my riches. I will, this very moment, abandon my kingdom and go with Rama to the forest. You can rule the kingdom with your son. Rama was upset by the acute suffering to which his father was subjected. He spoke in a soft and gentle voice to the king. I have given up all the pleasures of the palace. I have no attachment to anything here. I need no riches, nor an army, nor an entourage to follow me. I have promised to live in the forest like an inmate of the forest, living on fruits and roots as my mother has stipulated. Of what use will all this following be to me there? It is like a man who has given away an elephant and feels attached to the rope which is used to tie up the elephant. I do not need all these. I need but one thing, and that is an apparel made of tree bark. I also want a spade and a basket. I need nothing other than these. A cry of distress rose like a wave and submerged the entire hall when Rama spoke thus. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Jai Shri Ram. Om Shri Ramar Pranamastu. Chapter 16 of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda. Kaikeyi brings the Valkalas. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. Before Rama had completed his request, Kaikeyi went to her apartments and came out with the rough and coarse tree bark, which was to be the clothing for Rama for 14 years. She gave it to Rama and said, Here is what you asked for, wear it. There was a deadly silence when Rama took it and, after getting rid of the silks he was wearing, dressed himself in the cloth given to him by his mother. He looked like a tapaswin already, and at the same time Lakshmana took up the other pieces of the Valkala and dressed himself in them. The king was looking on and he was helpless. Realizing that another pair was brought for her sake, Sita took it in her hands, the Valkalas held out to her by Kaikeyi. She turned them in her hands and tried in vain to wear them. With a nonplussed look on her face, she spoke shyly to her husband and said, Tell me, my lord, how do they wear it in the forest? I do not seem to be doing it properly. She was standing there, looking helplessly around with a cloth in her hand. She had wound one piece round her neck and the other was in her hand. Sita was looking embarrassed since all eyes were upon her and she could not wear it as it usually was to be worn. Rama came to her quickly and with his own blessed hands he draped it over the silk she was wearing. The sight was heartbreaking for the women of the harem, and all eyes were wet as they saw Rama tying the Valkala round Sita's waist. Some of them said, Rama, this young girl has not been banished to the forest. She does not have to undergo this punishment. Leave her behind with us. Take Lakshmana with you as your companion. But this young, tender girl, Sita, is not meant to live in the forest and go through the many hardships of living there. When he saw Sita dressed in tree bark, Vashishta was furious. He said, Kaikeyi, you are a blot to the name of Dasharatha and to the name of Ashwapati. You have overreached yourself in unwomanliness. You deceived the king and you are secure in the anticipation of being the queen mother. You do not seem to set a limit in the atrocities you have been committing. Sita does not have to go to the forest. Let her be seated on the throne meant for Rama and rule the land of the Ikshvakus. It is said that a wife is one's own self taking another form. Accordingly, Sita has every right to rule the kingdom. But this goddess among women is determined to live in the forest since her lord Rama is living for Dandaka. We will all follow Rama to where he goes and the forest will become a city. Ayodhya will be the forest. Kaikeyi, in your ambition to own the kingdom, you have lost sight of one truth. You have not remembered the nature of Bharata. He will not be willing to accept the throne. I know these children of the king better than you do. Bharata and Shatrughna will wear tree bark and deer skin too, and they will live in the forest along with Rama. This city populated with trees and empty houses, infested with rats and mice, can be ruled by you. Bharata will never accept the kingdom which you have won for him with so much trouble. You have done him wrong by this act of yours. There is no one in this world who is not devoted to Rama. At the moment, you must immediately give costly gems and ornaments to Sita, your son's wife, and make her take off this hideous Valkala. Only Rama has been asked to wear them in the forest, since that was what you asked for. Sita will live in the forest since she wants to, but she need not wear anything else but the silks she is accustomed to. The king, who was now past all caring, had no desire to live nor talk to anyone. He said, Kaikeyi, Sita should not wear the Valkala which you have made my son wear. She is a young girl, accustomed to nothing but luxury, and as my revered Guru said, she should not be made to dress in this coarse cloth. What has she done that she should be made to stand like a mendicant in the midst of so many people? This daughter of Janaka must at once take out and throw away what she has been made to wear. Sita should not be subjected to any more indignities. You have banished Rama to the forest. Is that not enough for you? Why do you want to add to my misery by these cruel acts? Dasharatha fell back exhausted on his couch. Rama spoke to him again and said, My lord, my mother is old and she is devoted to you. Never once has she done anything to displease you. She will be very unhappy when she is parted from me, and it is up to you to take good care of her. Unless you help her to bear it, my mother will not be able to bear this separation from me, and she may lose her life. Dasharatha could not speak. He knew the moment had come when Rama would go. He wept loudly and spoke not a word. And he mumbled, Evidently in my previous birth, I have made several lives suffer. I must have parted the young ones from their parents, perhaps, and so I am suffering thus in this birth. Life refuses to leave my body since the Lord has so willed it that one should die only when the time comes. That is why I am still alive in spite of the torture Kaikeyi has meted out to me. I am looking at my sons throwing away their silks and wearing this tree bark. They are looking like two rishis. Because of this one woman who is eager to own the land, this large expanse of mud, the entire kingdom is suffering. I repeat, because of this one woman who is eager to own the land, this large expanse of mud, the entire kingdom is suffering. Jai Shri Ram. Om Shri Ramar Padamast.